Hi, yeah, just phoning for your call for tomorrow. So you're in at 10 o'clock to rehearse scene 2. Then your lunch break is 1 till 2. And then at 2 o'clock you've got costume fitting. And then after that, 3 o'clock, back in rehearsals to do scenes 5 and 6. And there's no evening call. Okay, any questions? All right, thanks. See you then, bye. My name's Ruth Morgan. I'm the full-time company manager at the Birmingham Rep Theatre. Sitting on the main stage, this is one of my places of work. I tend to work all over the building. No one day is the same. I oversee the rehearsals of any shows that are rehearsing in the building and also oversee the shows that are going on in our 3 spaces. Usually working in props as well, making props, sourcing props from our prop store, scheduling, making sure the actors turn up on time and seeing to their needs, and kind of acting as a PA for them and for the creative team, directors, designers, and making sure that they are happy, have what they need to be able to rehearse and put the show on. So this is one of our prop stores. So all our props at the end of each show, unless the show's going out on tour, come here, and then in an ideal world we then reuse them and bring them out for other shows. This is also a really useful room to kind of come to when a director says, oh, can I just have one of those in rehearsals? And before you go out and spend the money and actually buy it, because he might change his mind, you come down here and get a substitute or as much as similar as you can to it, so they can try it out in rehearsals first and see whether they want to actually go with that prop. So there's a whole eclectic mix of props in here. Puppets, this is from a previous Christmas show, Treasure Island, loads of kind of fake food, old phones, old radios, fake barbed wire, just everything really that hopefully you could ever need to lay your hands on for any show. So overseeing rehearsals kind of starts the day before, so you're making sure that the rehearsal call goes out to all the actors so they know what time they need to turn up and which room and which venue they need to turn up to. Then making sure that everything is in the room that they need, all the props, the markouts are down for the right shows in the rehearsal rooms. Then helping facilitate from the rehearsal room any costume fittings, any wigs fittings, vocal calls, anything like that. So just making sure that day-to-day rehearsals run smoothly and efficiently. The stage management team and the company manager tend to sit in the middle of the production, and I think what's great about being in stage management and being a company manager is that you get to see the production from the start right through to the finish. So from the first day of rehearsals, or even before the first day of rehearsals, getting the rehearsal room ready, contacting the actors, getting all the scripts out. You then see the rehearsal process, which is a really interesting process, especially with new writing, because you see the script changing and evolving throughout. Maybe it's a 4-week rehearsal process. So what you started off on day 1 isn't necessarily what you open in front of an audience with, script-wise. And I think to be able to see all those stages of the production process is what's really valuable and rewarding for a stage management person and certainly for a company manager. I think you have to be very flexible and adaptable, definitely a good sense of humour, because you could spend a whole day doing something and putting your heart and soul into it. I've spent a whole week making a specific prop to find out on the Friday evening that they've actually decided that they don't need that prop. So it's about moving on from that and not getting too attached to that. Really good communication skills. You sometimes have a different style of communication when you're communicating with an actor than maybe when you then talk to a director. And it's about being sensitive to their needs and realising what they need and the right approach that then you need to take to be able to communicate with them. Good organisational skills. I think most stage management, there tends to be a little bit of a control freak in them because they like to be able to organise people and they like to be able to organise the rooms and things. So as far as stage management teams go, we usually have a team of 3. So we'd have a stage manager, a deputy stage manager and an assistant stage manager. And then as company manager, I would then oversee that team and the acting company and the creative team. As company manager here, I oversee all the teams that are in and all the companies that are in. But then if a show goes out on tour, we would then have a separate company manager that would go out with that show to oversee the acting company and the show itself. It's long hours, but it's worth it. And you kind of know, people who go into this job know what they're letting themselves in for. And, if you enjoy it, then that's what you do it for. I think I always knew that I wasn't going to go into a 9-to-5 job. I needed the change and the kind of the instantaneous nature of it. There wasn't a predictable schedule on a daily basis. There's always a constant turnaround of shows and a constant turnaround of acting companies. So meeting those new people all the time and adapting to their different needs and the show's different needs. I think that's what kind of keeps people on their toes. When I first started out in theatre, I was doing A-levels, wasn't really sure what I wanted to do and didn't really fit in with any of the other careers kind of boxes. I started off volunteering with community theatre, Drum Theatre and open air theatre, doing wardrobe initially. Really liked working in theatre. And then once I'd finished my A-levels, went on and did a performing arts course for a year. Realised I wasn't cut out for the acting side, but did more backstage stuff, costume again, and getting into sound and doing sound operating and sound designs. And then quite late on in that year, discovered stage management and realised that's what I really enjoyed doing. I took a gap year and then went on to do a degree in stage management and technical theatre. And then I came here on placement. I had to do a 6-week placement as part of my degree course back in 1996. And then loved it so much I persuaded the production manager that when I graduated to employ me. So he did, and I started off as an ASM here, and I've kind of worked my way up to company manager. For me, when I was first starting out, university seemed the best course. And I think at that stage, maybe because of the work experience that I did as part of my degree, I was able to kind of come straight to the rep as an ASM, for which I'm really grateful for. You don't have to have a degree, and a lot of people that I employ as stage management don't have a degree in stage management. They've come from various angles, maybe working backstage volunteering, maybe they've had no experience at all and we've taken them on as apprenticeships or done work experience. There are so many routes into it. I think as far as I'm concerned, as long as I see a passion and I see the right work ethic, then it doesn't matter that they've necessarily got a piece of paper that says they've devoted 3 years to doing it or got a certain qualification. You're learning on the job as you do it anyway. Most of the time, I'm still learning, and technology and the theatre changes. So you're always kind of trying to keep up to date with the technology and with new things. So it's learning on the job. Because I did my degree course, and as part of my degree course I had to do the work experience, which I think then became almost like a 6-week interview for me to then get a job as an assistant stage manager once I graduated at Birmingham Rep. But I don't think it's essential for somebody to have that degree or to have that specific training. I think once I meet people and see that they have a passion for what they're doing, I can see that they're going to put the hard work in. I think that counts for a lot. I was never very academic in school and with exams. My talents are more kind of the practical and the doing things. I struggled a lot in school, but once I found working in theatre, that was what I really felt that I could achieve in. Every company is very different and they all bring different skills with them, and each show demands something different. So you might one day be working with somebody who does a lot of aerial work, so you're having to learn that. We did Peter Pan a couple of years ago, and most of the rehearsals were in the workshop because we could do all the aerial work. And then you might do a large-scale musical, so you've got the musicians to think of as well as the dancers and the singers. So it's so many different aspects and different styles of theatre that you can cover. So this is the prompt desk, and the whole show is run by the DSM, the Deputy Stage Manager, from the prompt desk. So everyone backstage, working backstage, and the Alexa operators and sound operators at the back of the auditorium all wear headsets so we can all talk to each other. And we also use cue lights as well. So everyone has their own cue light. So when the DSM cues a cue to go, they do it verbally, and they also give somebody a green light. We have 3 screens here, so they can show various angles of the stage. One might also be through an infrared camera. So when we go to scene changes and blackouts, the DSM can still see what's happening on stage. So maybe if they need to bring the lights up at the end of the scene change, they can see when that is, even though the whole stage is dark. One of them, if it's a musical, might also show the MD, the musical director, so they can see them conducting, because a lot of the cues might go in time to the music. The DSM will also call all the backstage calls for the actors to get to the stage on time from their dressing rooms, and they'll also do all the front of house calls for the audiences to get them into their seats on time at the start of the show and after an interval. So this is kind of the control centre once the show is up and running. Certainly when I've been a DSM and sat at this prompt desk, it's a feeling of absolute control, and it goes back to what I was saying about stage management. There's an element of control freak in stage management because they like that control, and it's knowing that it's like a bit of a roller coaster, that once you call the house lights down at the start of the show and the stage lights up, you know that you have to keep going whatever happens. You can't stop, and it's that roller coaster kind of adrenaline rush, I think, that keeps you going to the end of the show. I think I would say to anyone going into this industry, you have to be open-minded, you have to be ready for a lot of hard work, and you have to remain flexible in your outlook. It's not easy, but it's very rewarding, and it's worth doing. I think when I first started off in this career, it didn't tick the careers advisors boxes. I think if you're really passionate about it, you just have to go for it.